Hello to everybody. Welcome again to our media. Welcome again to this platform, to this channel. Today, we continue by looking on Kepler and his discovery. Before to start by looking on Kepler and his discovery, let's start by thanking you all our followers, our young student teachers, our visitors, our friends, all of you where you are. God be with you. At this session, we have to discuss on Kepler and his discoveries. As we know, our developing Earth, our developing world has different scientists, different philosophers who discussed on different points. Today, we choose the one of the philosophers who is named Kepler. Kepler and his discoveries. Kepler is one of the philosophers who discussed on two key points which are very important, which are very useful in our daily life. Let me tell you that after this session, after this lesson, everyone will be able to know about Kepler. Who is Kepler? What are the discoveries of Kepler? Where Kepler's laws are used? Let's start by looking on that discovery. Let's start by name. Kepler, Johannes Kepler, was a German mathematician and astronomer who discovered that the Earth and planets travel about the Sun in elliptical orbits. He gave 3 fundamental laws of planetary motion. He also did important work in optics and geometry. There is 2 key points Kepler discussed about. Firstly, it is the planetary motion of orbits, the planetary motion of all planets, how planets revolve around the Sun. Also, he discussed on optical and geometry. Kepler is a very famous scientist, is a very famous philosopher. Kepler's laws are in 2 categories. Kepler's laws of planetary motion are in 3 types. There is first, second, and third law of Kepler. Johannes Kepler is now chiefly remembered for discovering the 3 laws of planetary motion. That year his name published in 1609 and 1619. He also did important work in optics. Kepler is very useful scientist for our today's education, even in our future education. Kepler's law of planetary motion are very important and very useful. Johannes Kepler is now chiefly remembered for discovering the 3 laws of planetary motion. Let's look on the 2 points Kepler discussed about. Kepler's fundamental laws of planetary motion. In astronomy, Kepler's laws of planetary motion published by Johannes Kepler between 1609 and 1619 describe the orbits of planetary around the Sun. So we'll have time to look the laws of planetary motion, the 3 laws of planetary motion. We shall have time to discuss on them, but let's start by staying on them in brief. Fundamental laws of planetary motion. There are 3 Kepler's law of planetary motion. The first one says that every planet orbits in ellipse with the Sun at the focus. The second one, a line joining the Sun and planet sweeps out equal areas in equal interval of time. The third one, the square of the planet's orbital period is proportional to the cube of the semi-major axis. Semi-major axis means the radius separating the point of the Sun, the point of planet, the point of a body, like that. Let's look about Kepler and optics. Beyond Kepler's planetary motion, there is optics. He has 2 books which are very important, which are very essential. The first book is named Astronomia Pars Optica. Astronomia Pars Optica is the first book of planetary motion. What is the content belongs in this book? This first book of Kepler about optics, named Astronomia Pars Optica, for which he earned the title of Father Modern Optics. He was the first to investigate the formation of picture with a pinhole camera. The first to explain the process of vision by reflection within the eye. You know that our eye is also considered as optical instrument. It contains the lens inside. First to formulate eyeglass designing for nearsightedness and farsightedness. There is defect of our eye, as you know. Also from that book, from Astronomia Pars Optica, you can get how these nearsightedness and farsightedness are and how to avoid them. Also, he is the first to explain the use of both eyes for depth of perception. There is also the second book of Kepler. The second book of Kepler is named Dioptrics. Dioptrics is the book which is contain the content related to the Leo virtue, applied and inverted image and magnification, as well as explaining the principle of how telescope works. Also, the image, this is the nature of image. All the nature of image are discussed by Kepler from the Dioptrics book. He also discovered and described the properties of total internal reflection. The Dioptrics book, the Kepler second book, we know that the total internal reflection is very used in optical fibers, and you know the optical fibers are now used in this world which is developing. It is used in distributing information of signals in his way. As we now have seen that Kepler's laws of planetary motion, and in optics, Kepler he discussed on how pinhole camera can form an image. Kepler is a very famous scientist, is a very famous philosopher who is used in our daily life. Next time we shall discuss on Kepler's law for planetary motion. Try to search about that. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. We shall meet next time. Bye bye.